Welcome back to the channel. This is Brian with Life Uninterrupted. A couple of weeks ago I created a short video just kind of showing you how we've been Moochdocking, or how we started Moochdocking rather, here at my parents' house in central Indiana on 15 amp service.
I'm Shauna and this is Brian. Welcome to our channel, Life Uninterrupted.
In 2018, we sold our home, auctioned off most of our belongings, and bought a motorhome, which we affectionately refer to as Frida.
We travel full-time with our two French bulldogs, Lucy and Ricky.
Join us on our adventures by subscribing and hitting the bell icon so that you're notified when our videos release each week. Today I kind of wanted to expound on the system that I have in place in our coach that helps us do that. So I'll be taking you around and kind of showing you up here this crazy long electrical cord that I have plugged into a 15 amp outlet in my dad's garage that runs all the way down here to a lower part of his property. It's about 100 feet. So as you might imagine, there's a slight issue with all the voltage and amperage getting to the coach. But I'll show you how our system compensates for that, and also a new system that I installed that really gives us a super peace of mind when we are out boondocking and we want to leave the coach for an extended period of time. In fact, leave the dogs in the coach for an extended period of time. And it really gives us peace of mind to allow us to do that. Let's go check out this super long, ridiculous cord that I have connected. Go down here into the lower part, kind of show you so you can see part of it kind of laying there along the driveway, and then up here on the edge of the garage you can see that yellow extension cord that goes into the garage and then plugs into a 15 amp receptacle. Now these I've used before, this black cord when we're at an RV park and my regular 30-foot cord, shore power cord, doesn't quite reach. I'll use that, or sometimes we'll want to pull in a little bit differently to a spot. Instead of backing in sometimes, like at a waterfront spot, we'll pull in and then I'll use that extra long cord. But in this case, since I can't get the coach up here on any of this surface simply because it's just too unlevel, we had to park down here. I'll give you kind of a shot of all of that. So we're coming up here by the house, and you can see down there it's kind of in this area that's really down in this kind of a sloped area, quite a distance away from the electrical power. So how do we Moochdocking on 15 amp service? In that short video that I put out a couple of weeks ago, like I said, I kind of gave you a brief introduction to our system. So here we go. I'm going to tuck myself here in our main compartment that houses our Battle-Born batteries, and then also our Victron MultiPlus 3000, and it also houses the controller for the solar controller, all Victron. So they all talk together and play nicely, which is awesome. So the great thing about this MultiPlus, in our case, since that long run from the garage to the coach, there's significant, not so much voltage drop. There is a couple of volts voltage drop, but the biggest drop is in amperage because it just has to push that entire length, almost 100 feet. So it starts out at 15 amps, and I'm only getting just over 10 amps here at the coach, once again due to that amperage drop across that 100-foot line. The great thing about that, though, I can adjust the input voltage to the coach with the software, or the app rather, here that the MultiPlus uses, and I can dial that down from 50 amps, 30 amps, whatever we're plugged into. And in this case, I've dropped it down because when I show you here in a second, our surge protector is telling me that I'm only getting about 9 amps, a little over 9 amps when it starts at 15. So quite a bit of drop there, but this MultiPlus takes over and makes up the difference. So let's go check out these components that I put in. I put the wired-in surge protector in when we first left, so it's been in about 2 years, been working flawlessly, no problems there. Let's check this out. Kind of tight quarters in here. So here we are. Here is the wired-in, hardwired 30-amp surge protector. Ours is a 30-amp coach, and oh, by the way, we can run 2 ACs on 30-amp. I do have a soft start in the rear AC. I just bought another one for the front AC. Regardless, we could still run 2 ACs. I just wanted to get those soft starters so that when we're boondocking, we can run on battery. At least 1 AC on battery, no problem. All right, so you can see the control panel here. I'll kind of show you. So that's the power coming in. 60 hertz, 108 volts, and 7 amps. So that fluctuates. It's actually been fluctuating between 7 and 10 amps, but I have it dialed in at about 9 amps. Okay, so that's basically helps protect the coach from any surges, any problems with shore power coming in the coach. Now, I talked a minute ago about a new system that we had installed that gives us super great peace of mind. A lot of new coaches have these. Ours didn't, and that is an automatic generator start. And part of the automatic generator start install was to install this automatic transfer switch. So before, if the shore power went out, I would have to get out, unplug the plug from the pedestal, come back and plug it into a receptacle that was located in here, and then fire up the generator. That was kind of a pain in the neck. I mean, first world problems, right? So now what I did is I wired in this automatic transfer switch so that when shore power goes out, and you know, that's going to happen, I'm telling you, especially with the boon in camping and RV parks being overloaded, and most likely a hot summer, and we've had it happen on several occasions where the power goes out. And what do you do with your AC? Luckily for us, with the systems I've installed, we can run AC on battery for 3 to 4 hours, which is pretty good. So what happens when the shore power goes out, a relay in here will switch over to the generator, and then I can just start the generator normally inside if I choose to. Well, with the Victron MultiPlus inverter that I have and the battery bank that I have, what will happen is the system will sense that the generator will not start unless I choose to manually start it. The battery system will maintain the coach just like we're on 110 power plugged into the pedestal. The system doesn't know any different. We still use all of our outlets, blow dryers, AC, microwave, everything, just as we would if we were plugged into shore power. Now, I do have the automatic generator start module. I can't show you that. I do have it installed inside. I installed it back behind the panel, but I'll show you the control panel and how the system works depending on where the switch setting is. So what happens is, let's say if shore power goes out, transfer switch takes over and says, I need to run on generator power, but the generator won't start until the battery bank gets down to 12 volts. And that takes a while with these lithium batteries. I tested it out the other day just to make sure everything worked right, and it was running 1 AC on a hot day and using the coach like we normally would. It was over 4 hours before the lithium batteries got down to a level where the automatic generator start sensed that the system was at about 12 volts, and boom, automatically the generator or the transfer switch was already switched to generator, but the generator module sensed that, fired up the generator, started charging the batteries, provided electrical power to the coach. So it is a great system for those of us who boondock and moochdock in situations like this, where the power is not optimal, but you still need your systems to perform as if you're plugged into power. So an awesome feature. So Shauna's working with clients today. She's on the phone, so I'm flying solo, but kind of wanted to give you that overview of the system and how it really works for us now. Total peace of mind. As you know, we do have 2 French bulldogs, and anybody with pets, you really need, in my opinion, to have a system installed in your coach that's going to help, one, save your pets if electricity goes out on a hot day, or you just need electricity for your refrigerator, because more and more RVs these days are going all electric. And in our case, we still have a propane refrigerator, so that would switch over and go to propane, which would be awesome in case power goes out, so we save our food. So that's pretty much everything on the exterior and how I installed that and wired it all in. I didn't go through all the install videos because quite frankly, not everyone wants to see that. Most people just want to know how the system works. So that's what I'm doing today. When Shauna gets off the phone, we'll go inside, we'll check out the automatic generator start control panel, and I'll explain a little bit more how all that works. All right, Shauna's taking a break. She went inside to do a few things, so let's go in the coach and check out the automatic generator start module. And oh, by the way, look who's here with us. Who is that? There's Ricky. Hi, Lucy. Hi, Luce. Who's that? Hi, guys. Say hi, everybody. They're kind of chilling out today here in the warm part of the day. All right, I mentioned earlier about the auto Genstart. A little bit dark in here right now, so let me add some light. So this is our kind of the control center of our particular coach, and you can see right here I installed the Magnum Auto Genstart remote control. Now there are a couple of ways you can operate this. I can still operate it with the standard generator stop and start switch up here, or if I want to have everything automated, I can switch the Genstart from off, which is in the center switch, to enable. And what that does, the system is now active, and again, if it reaches the threshold of 12 volts on the battery bank, the generator will fire up. Now, the control module is mounted back behind this panel on the wall. And what I like about this control module is that you can set basically kind of 3 different parameters when it comes to how the generator will start. You can create a set temperature up to 85 degrees. So once the coach reaches 85 degrees, there's a temperature sensor in the remote panel here that detects that and will fire up the generator. The other mode is 3 modes. The second mode is the 12 volt mode, like I mentioned, and you can set a third mode, which would be a combination of the 3, temperature and voltage. And then once those parameters are met, generator will start up, run for a predetermined amount of time. In this case, I have it set for 3 hours. It'll run for 3 hours and then shut down. The system will then utilize battery power until it gets to 12 volts. That whole process will start again until I tell it not to. So if we're gone for 4 or 5 or 6 hours, that system, that process will happen continuously until I tell it to stop by turning the generator off here or setting the switch off here. Now, how did all this work, you might ask? And how did I go about connecting all this? It was a very simple process. All the wires are connected back here. So there are a series of 6 wires that I connected to various switches back here, including the generator switch. It might be different for your generator, so no use going into all that. I wanted to point out also the 2 AC units and how they function. We have a 30 amp coach, and Winnebago installs this Powerline energy management system, which allows the coach to operate 2 ACs on 30 amps, which is awesome. The issue there is when you're on battery, you just can't run 2 ACs for very long. One, because they'll deplete the batteries pretty quickly, and number 2, there's just too much inrush current that would cause some issues, you might imagine. So that's why I installed the soft start on the rear AC unit. I have yet to do that on the front AC unit. I do have it. I'll probably install that in the next day or 2, but I wanted to give you an example of the different inrush current and steady state current in terms of load, amps or load, that each unit now has. So I'll start with the front unit, since it doesn't have anything installed. in terms of the soft starter. Show you the inrush current and the solids, the steady state current, what that looks like, and then I'll do the rear. So we'll switch the front on here. You'll get an idea of just how much current this thing pulls. And they're both the same unit, by the way. So let's take a look at that. So about 13 amps inrush. And it's staying steady at about 12 amps. So that's, you know, a unit without a soft start, just a standalone Coleman. I think it's a Mach 3 RVAC unit. So let's turn this off. And I'm going to clip the GoPro up here on one of the handles because I have to go in the back room there. So I'll turn the front AC unit off. You can still see, I think, this right here, and I'll show you just how much less amperage the rear AC unit draws with that soft starter installed. So you can see that the momentary inrush current was a little bit higher, but steady state, it's running at about 9 amps. So effectively 4 amps less than the front without the soft starter. So it just goes to show you, how well those soft starters work. So there you go. That's pretty much how our coach operates. Let me get this front AC turned back on, because just in that little amount of time it jumped up to 84 in here. And I mentioned earlier it's going to be 106 today with humidity. So dogs are kind of chilling. Hey guys. Actually going to take them in to the basement. They have a nice finished basement in there, a rec area. It's nice and cool, probably 72 degrees in there. So that'll be great. So that is the generator control, remote control panel, and a little explanation on how all that works. I did forget to mention earlier, I did say that it took about 4 hours running on nothing but battery, one AC unit, using the coach like we normally would. It took about 4 hours to get down to 12 volts. Now, according to my battery monitor, which is also tied into the Victron system, I still had 25% battery bank life left, even at 12 volts and running for 4+ hours. But that's the threshold that I have the system set at. I don't want to go below about 20% just to help protect the system. So what that means is I have 4 100 amp hour batteries, and really the system was telling me I had pretty much 1 full battery remaining, which I think is pretty awesome. A good testament on how well the battle-born batteries handle that sort of situation. Because like today, it's about, I think it's going to be 96 degrees here in central Indiana with humidity. It's going to be about 106 or 107. So we're putting the system through its paces again today. And the inverter, because it's not getting the power that it needs from shore power, it's actually using part of the batteries and goes into what's called assist mode. Okay, I'm logging into the Victron Connect app. And here's the device list showing our battery monitor, the MultiPlus inverter, and the MPPT solar charge controller. So we'll log into the MultiPlus. Pretty simple. Just takes a couple of seconds to connect. This is the overview page. It shows how much amperage is coming into the coach. In this case, I've dialed it down to 9 amps. And as you can see here, the inverter is in assisting mode, which means it's pulling power from the battery bank. So it's saying I don't have enough power from shore. I need to now switch over to assist mode and start drawing any excess voltage and amperage I need to run your systems that you're asking me to run from the battery bank. So that's what it's doing. It's pulling all that additional power that it needs for the coach to perform the way we want it to perform from our battery bank. Simultaneously, if there are any excess amps, which right now there aren't, because honestly the AC is struggling a little bit with this heat, as most RV ACs do. I'm not able to charge the battery simultaneously. Now, once it gets a little bit cooler and the AC is not loaded so much, then the system will detect that and will also start dumping some amperage into the batteries to help recharge the battery bank, which is pretty cool. So if you haven't checked out Victron or Battleborn, or if you want more information, certainly leave me some comments in the comment section below, and I'll be happy to answer whatever I can. Keep in mind also that the Magnum Auto Genstart S model can be used for just about any brand or model of generator, even little standalone what we call construction generators. They can be used for those too. You have to buy some extra equipment, but it certainly can be used for that. So anyway, that is it for this video. Hopefully Shauna will be able to join us next week in something. We do have a couple of cool videos coming up with some really neat products that we like, so be on the lookout for those. So until next time, see ya.